The doors of Hillman College are opening once again, and this time, a brand new generation is ready to make its mark. After decades of memories, friendships, romance, laughter, and unforgettable moments, A Different World is returning to television in a new Netflix sequel series. The original show became one of the most beloved college sitcoms in television history, and now Netflix is bringing audiences back to Hillman for a fresh chapter filled with new faces, new challenges, and familiar legends. The new series centers on Deborah Wayne, played by Malaya Joy Moon, as she begins her freshman year at Hillman College. But Deborah is not just another student arriving on campus. She is the daughter of two of Hillman's most famous former students, Dwayne Wayne and Whitley Gilbert, portrayed once again by Kadeem Hardison and Jasmine Guy. Growing up with parents who left such a powerful legacy at Hillman comes with enormous expectations, and Deborah quickly discovers that creating an identity of her own may be harder than she imagined. The first look at the new A Different World immediately brings back the atmosphere that made the original series special. Hillman once again feels like a place where students can laugh, fall in love, make mistakes, discover themselves, and have conversations about the world around them. But this is not simply a recreation of the past. The new series is designed to introduce Hillman to a new generation while respecting the fans who have loved the show for decades. The original A Different World premiered in 1987 as a spin-off of The Cosby Show. The series originally followed Denise Huxtable, played by Lisa Bonet, as she entered the fictional historically black college known as Hillman College. After Denise's departure, the show expanded into an ensemble story centered on a group of students and their experiences. Over 6 seasons, the series became much more than a traditional sitcom. It explored friendship, relationships, education, identity, politics, social issues, and the realities of young adulthood. Now, almost 4 decades later, the new version asks a different question. What happens when the children of those legendary Hillman students finally arrive at the same campus? That question is at the heart of Deborah Wayne's story. Deborah enters Hillman as a young woman who wants to experience college on her own terms. She is described as free-spirited, well-intentioned, and rebellious, and she is determined to create her own path. But the shadow of her parents follows her everywhere. At Hillman, people know the Wayne and Gilbert names. Her parents were not ordinary students. They were part of the school's history, and Deborah has to deal with the expectations that come with being their daughter. Instead of simply following the path her parents created, Deborah wants to discover who she really is. That makes her journey especially interesting, because the new A Different World is not only about returning to a familiar campus. It is about the tension between legacy and individuality. Deborah has inherited a famous family name, but she still has to make her own decisions, build her own friendships, experience her own romances, and learn from her own mistakes. And she will not be doing it alone. Joining Malaya Joy Moon is a new generation of Hillman students, including Alicia Kai as Rashida, Cornell Young IV as Shaquille, Jordan Aaron Hall as Amir, Kennedy Reese as Hazel, and Chibukem Uche as Kojo. Together, these characters form the new group of students who will give Hillman its energy. Their stories promise to bring the classic mixture of comedy, friendship, romance, and personal growth back to the campus. The trailer and promotional material give audiences glimpses of students laughing together, spending time around campus, dealing with relationships, and trying to figure out what comes next. Like college itself, Hillman is presented as a place where everything can change quickly. One moment can be hilarious, the next can become emotional, and a simple conversation can completely change the way a character sees the world. That balance between humor and meaningful storytelling was one of the biggest strengths of the original A Different World, and the Netflix sequel appears determined to keep that spirit alive. Behind the new series is Felicia Pride, who serves as showrunner, writer, and executive producer. Debbie Allen, one of the most important creative forces behind the original series, is also returning as an executive producer and director. Allen directed dozens of episodes of the original show and helped shape the identity of Hillman College. Her return gives the new series a direct connection to its past. For longtime fans, that connection may be one of the most exciting parts of the entire project. Kadeem Hardison returns as Dwayne Wayne, while Jasmine Guy returns as Whitley Gilbert. Seeing these two characters together again is more than a nostalgic moment. They now return as parents, and their daughter is entering the same college that played such an important role in their lives. That creates an opportunity for the series to show how much these characters have changed, while also reminding audiences why they became so beloved. Dwayne Wayne was one of the defining characters of the original series. His confidence, humor, intelligence, and signature style made him instantly recognizable. Whitley Gilbert was equally unforgettable, developing from a privileged and sometimes difficult student into a much more mature and compassionate person. Now their daughter is beginning her own Hillman journey. The new series also brings back other familiar faces. Daryl M. Bell returns as Ron Johnson, while Cree Summer returns as Freddie Brooks. Charnel Brown reprises her role as Dr. Kimberly Reese Boyer. Dawn Lewis returns as Jaleesa Vincent Taylor, and Glynn Turman returns as Colonel Bradford Taylor. Jennifer Lewis also returns as Professor Davenport. Additional returning characters and new cast members expand the world even further, making the series feel like a genuine continuation rather than a simple remake. The return of these original stars also creates an interesting contrast. The old generation knows what Hillman was like decades ago, while the new students are experiencing it for the first time. Their perspectives will naturally be different. For Deborah, this means constantly balancing the world her parents remember with the world she is actually living in. And that world has changed. Today's college students face different social pressures, different technologies, different conversations, and a rapidly changing culture. Yet many of the emotional experiences remain universal. Students still worry about fitting in. They still struggle with relationships. They still question their futures. They still want to find people who understand them. That is where the new A Different World has the opportunity to connect with audiences. Hillman College may be fictional, but the emotions surrounding it are real. The new generation will also have to discover what friendship means. College friendships can become some of the strongest relationships in a person's life, but they can also be complicated. People arrive with different backgrounds, beliefs, personalities, and ambitions. Some friendships survive every challenge. Others change completely. Deborah and her friends are about to experience all of that. There will likely be moments when they support one another, moments when they disagree, and moments when they discover something about themselves because of the people around them. Romance will also be part of the story. The original A Different World became famous for its memorable relationships, and the new series appears ready to explore young love from a modern perspective. Deborah and her classmates are entering an environment where friendships can quickly become crushes. Crushes can become relationships, and relationships can become complicated. But the show is not simply about who ends up with whom. At its core, A Different World has always been about growing up. The new students are entering a stage of life where childhood is ending and adulthood is beginning. Every decision seems important. Every mistake feels enormous. The future can feel exciting one minute and frightening the next. For Deborah, those feelings are intensified by her family history. She knows that her parents found love and built lifelong memories at Hillman. She knows that their names are connected to the school. But she does not want to be remembered simply as Dwayne Wayne and Whitley Gilbert's daughter. She wants people to know Deborah. That could become one of the central themes of Season 1. The new A Different World is also expected to continue the franchise's tradition of representing the HBCU experience. Hillman College has always been portrayed as more than a backdrop. It is a community, a place where students can see people who look like them pursuing education, building careers, questioning society, and dreaming about the future. The original series became particularly influential because it introduced many viewers to the idea of attending a historically black college or university. The show's cultural impact went far beyond comedy. That legacy is not lost on the people bringing the series back. Debbie Allen has spoken about the original show's influence and its ability to inspire young Black Americans. The new series therefore has a difficult task. It has to honor that history without becoming trapped by it. Fortunately, the new cast seems ready to take on that challenge. Malaya Joy Moon brings a fresh energy to Deborah. As a Tony Award-winning performer, she enters the series with an impressive stage background and the responsibility of carrying a character connected directly to two iconic television personalities. Her performance will be especially important because audiences need to believe that Deborah is more than a nostalgic connection to the past. She needs to feel like a real young woman facing real problems. And that is exactly where the new series can become something special. The show is not trying to recreate 1987. It is bringing Hillman into 2026. The campus looks familiar, but the students are different. The technology is different. The conversations are different. The world outside the campus has changed dramatically, yet the basic idea remains the same. Young people trying to figure out who they are. Another exciting addition is Cliff Method Man Smith, who joins the series as Coach Coles. His presence adds another recognizable name to the cast and expands the adult world surrounding the students. The series also features Norman Nixon Jr. as Professor Baptiste, alongside other returning and new performers. Behind the camera, the involvement of original creators and writers adds another layer of authenticity. Reggie Rock Bythewood and Gina Prince Bythewood, who worked on the original series, are returning as executive producers. Their connection to the show gives the new version a creative bridge between generations. Production took place in Atlanta, where the new series was filmed. The production team has worked to recreate elements of the original Hillman environment while giving the new version its own visual identity. Season 1 will consist of 10 half-hour episodes. That means viewers will have enough time to become familiar with Deborah, Rashida, Shaquille, Amir, Hazel, Kojo, and the rest of the new Hillman community. The series is expected to mix comedy with emotional storytelling, allowing characters to deal with everyday college problems while also exploring larger questions about identity, family, ambition, and belonging. And then there's the music. One of the most recognizable elements of A Different World has always been its theme song. The song has been performed by several artists over the years, becoming part of the show's identity. For the Netflix sequel, Brandy is bringing her voice to the classic theme. Her involvement is especially exciting because Brandy represents another generation of Black entertainment history. Her version keeps the connection to the original song while giving it a fresh sound for the new series. The return of the theme is more than just background music. For longtime viewers, hearing it again may instantly bring back memories of the original Hillman College. For younger viewers, it can become the introduction to a world they have never experienced before. That is ultimately what this new series is trying to accomplish. It wants to make longtime fans feel at home while inviting new audiences inside. The original A Different World ended in 1993 after 6 seasons, but its influence never disappeared. The series continued to find new audiences, and when the original show became available on Netflix, another generation had the opportunity to discover Hillman College. That renewed interest helped create the perfect environment for a sequel. Now, in 2026, Hillman is back. But this time, the story belongs to Deborah Wayne and her friends. She will make mistakes. She will learn. She will laugh. She will fall in love. She will question her parents. She will meet people who change her life. And eventually, she will have to decide what kind of person she wants to become. Her parents may have created a legendary Hillman story, but Deborah has the chance to create her own. That is what makes the new A Different World more than a reunion. It is a passing of the torch. The familiar faces from the original series represent the history of Hillman. The new cast represents its future, and somewhere between those two generations is the heart of the show. For viewers who grew up watching Dwayne, Whitley, Freddie, Ron, and the rest of the original group, seeing them return will undoubtedly bring a wave of nostalgia. But the real test will be whether the new characters can make audiences care about their lives just as deeply. If the first look is any indication, Hillman is still full of laughter, friendship, romance, drama, and unexpected surprises. The new season also has the advantage of arriving at a time when audiences are once again interested in stories about community and identity. In a television landscape filled with reboots and revivals, A Different World has something many others do not, a world that naturally allows different generations to coexist. The parents can return, the old friends can return, the teachers can return, but the students must always change. And that means Hillman can continue telling new stories. When Deborah walks through those campus doors, she is not simply following her parents. She is stepping into a world that existed before her, while preparing to change it herself. That is the promise of Season 1. A new generation, a familiar campus, a legendary legacy, and an entirely different world waiting to be discovered. A different world. Season 1 is coming to Netflix on September 24th, 2026, with 10 episodes planned for the first season. The series brings together Malaya Joy Moon, Alicia Kai, Cornell Young I4, Jordan Aaron Hall, Kennedy Reese, Chibuikem Uche, and a collection of beloved original stars, including Kadeem Hardison, Jasmine Guy, Daryl M. Bell, and Cree Summer. Cite, turn search, fi. After nearly 40 years, the halls of Hillman College are ready for a knot. Is Deborah Wayne's turn to write the next chapter. Welcome back to A Different World.